This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You know who I can do? You know who I can do without? I can do without the people in the video store.
Which ones?
All of them.
This is Massive Late Fee with Mike and Mark.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my co-host Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good. We've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. Everything is going well. How are you today?
Not too bad.
They can't answer us, I guess. So.
And yourself?
Oh, well, wouldn't that be funny if we just got caught in a loop?
Yeah, I guess. And terrifying.
So news today. Sad news first. Eddie Money, dead at 70 years old. Mike, were you a fan of Eddie Money?
I mean, I've heard some of his songs. You know, not really my favorite kind of music, but you know, he seems good for him. He's still getting out there at 70 to perform. He was a staple of the local music scene. Like basically, it'd be almost like the kickoff of summer would be Eddie Money coming to Pine Knob or DC or whatever it's called now. Yeah,
absolutely. He holds a very interesting distinction. He is the first ever rock star to overdose on fentanyl. So good for him. Yeah, he overdosed on fentanyl, I think, in 1986.
Oh wow!
I want to say.
How did he survive?
I don't know, but he set a record there, kicked down that door for rock stars everywhere. So good for you, Mr. Money. Died of esophageal cancer. He
recently announced that he had it like less than a month ago, I believe. Yeah,
he said he didn't want to hide it. He said it would feel like lying to him and everything. I respect that. A lot of people, I never begrudge people, like famous people, when they get cancer or whatever, not saying anything about it, because I understand your whole life is open to the public and open to speculation, and when you find out you're dying like that, I can understand not wanting everyone to know about it. So I never judge people when they want to keep things quiet like that. But I respect Eddie Money for wanting to let everyone know this is what's going on with my life and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. He at least got to be somewhat old, probably had a pretty decent life. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a shame that, we still need to work on these medical issues. We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm encouraged. I read a study that I think is pretty interesting. It's worked in rats and mice. So, they'll go on to higher animal testing and everything. But basically, they take the venom from a Brazilian, I think it's a Brazilian hornet, and they somehow make a medicine out of it, and they give it to people. I think it's in a pill form or intravenously. Well, not people, but these animals. I guess with the animals, it's probably just intravenous. I don't know how they'd give it to humans if it'd be the same way. But what this thing does is it destroys fat cells. So one of the interesting things is most types of cancers, not all types of cancers, but I think it said something like 85 to 90% of cancers, the fat cells are on the outside of the cell wall for cancers. And for regular, healthy, normal cells, fat cells are on the inside. So this thing can't pass through cell walls, or it can't pass through cells. It can't go inside cells. It just affects things on the outside. So what it does is, for the cancer cells, it kind of punches holes in the cancer cells because it destroys all that fat, and then the mitochondria just kind of spill out from the cancer, and the cancer cells can't grow, and they die, and then the cancer is just destroyed. And the other cells are completely protected. It doesn't affect them in negative ways, at least from what they've seen so far right now. So, I mean, obviously that's years and years away testing-wise, but, maybe some hope there.
Yeah, it's always good to see.
But yeah, so Eddie Money, dead at 70. rest in peace. If you're religious, God's taken him home tonight. He got we got one ticket to paradise.
Hey, you can stand behind those by yourself. Not for offense, just quality-wise.
But anyway, so the other news item that I have today is that Shane Gillis, apparently a new member of SNL, we'll see if he stays a new member of SNL. He's under considerable fire for some racist and homophobic comments, I guess, on a podcast. Wait,
if you get into trouble for doing that?
Yeah, I know. I thought everything that we said on this podcast was protected, guys, right?
Oh, shit.
This will never come back to haunt us.
Nah.
But anyway, so I guess he said something. Okay, so this is from Variety. I'm just going to quote my source. This is the quote they have that they're attributing to him, where he's talking about New York City's Chinatown. And he says, let the fucking chinks live there, and mocks immigrants' language skills. I guess doing a bad like Pidgin accent, the very stereotypical kind of accent. It says in other episodes, there are no quotes here, but it just says in other episodes he makes derogatory remarks about women, Muslims, and this says the LBTQ community. I'm pretty sure they mean the LGBTQ community. And then they also mention that Bowen Yang, who is gay and Chinese American, so 2 boxes there. Good job, NBC. Is also going to be added to the 45th season roster. Only the third cast member of Asian descent. Mike, just quick quiz. Do you know? Can you name either of the other 2 actors of Asian descent that have been on Saturday Night Live?
I was just thinking that I can't think of anyone. Can you?
Well, I know who it is because it's in here in this article, but I would not have guessed either one of these people were Asian. Although I think I saw something about him, one of them being part Asian anyway. But it says Fred Armisen and Rob Schneider are both part Asian descent.
Rob Schneider is half Philippine, actually. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, Rob Schneider's the one that I had heard. I thought he said his mom was Filipino, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, you have heard that before.
Fred Armisen, I was not aware that he has Asian heritage. Nor does it really matter to me. Fred Armisen is hilarious, and that's why I like him. But anyway, so there are people, coming out saying, so a lot of people are like, I usually defend comedians, but this stuff's just racist and everything. There are people saying that he should be fired from Saturday Night Live. Andrew Yang, the presidential candidate that wants to give everyone $1,000 a month, says that he doesn't think he should lose his job over this. He basically says, I prefer comedy that makes people think and doesn't take cheap shots, but I'm happy to sit down and talk with you if you'd like. That's what he said, too.
Just looking for any mention in the press at this point.
I think so. I think that's what this is. Because he's responding to a tweet of Shane Gillis's that says, I'm a comedian who pushes boundaries. I sometimes miss. If you go through my 10 years of comedy, most of it bad, you're going to find a lot of bad misses. I'm happy to apologize to anyone who's actually offended by anything I've said. My intention is never to hurt anyone, but I'm trying to be the best comedian I can be, and sometimes that requires risks. So here's the thing. When you hear... Because I'm not even gonna say whether I think he should lose his job. In general, I don't think people should lose their job over being stupid. I mean, if they're negligent on their job, but for things like this, I'm usually not in favor of that. But like I said, I haven't heard it, so I'm not gonna comment on it as far as that goes. But when you hear without context, in a plain plaintive voice, like I just said, apparently according to this, and what is this? This is Fox News, so I don't know, maybe you can't trust it. But the quote they have is, why do the fucking chinks live there? before complaining that Chinese restaurants are full of fucking Chinese. So when I say it just flat like that, it obviously, has a really bad connotation. Now, if you heard it on the podcast, and maybe he's laughing as he says it, maybe it's, maybe he's doing a bit, I don't know. Obviously, context can change things. So, I don't know. I'm saying that I could see someone saying that, and it being part of a joke that's not as offensive as it sounds when I just read it plainly. I guess if you guys care about our take on this, I don't know why you would. I can go through and listen to it and then give you an informed opinion on it. But I would just urge you, before you make a judgment on whether or not you think this is offensive, listen to the actual podcast. I'm sure you can look up somewhere what episode it is, what the timestamp is, and you can find, the actual clip. Listen to it, and, if you think he's being way out of line and just being racist to be racist, then, fine. He's saying that it's comedy. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to be funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I could perfectly see them. I wouldn't be upset if they did get rid of him and, kick him off the cast. But what I understand is how, some random person on Twitter can find all this, but NBC didn't vet this guy out and find this shit.
No shit. Yeah.
For all I know, it's like a rival comedian who didn't get the job. They're like, oh yeah, fuck you, and just look. You could, if you wanted to really dig into anybody's history on Twitter, you can find any shitty thing they said.
Yeah. You should be able to.
How NBC didn't look through this, I'll never know.
Yeah, and if they did and they knew about it, were they just like, okay, let's roll the dice? I don't.
Right. And on the other hand, like him, I would just disclose that shit immediately because, as said, anyone could just like dig into your Twitter history and find it out right away. Like I was talking to my wife about this the other. I don't even know how anyone could possibly try committing a crime these days. How can you get away with anything?
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's like a surveillance state everywhere. There's DNA. People are getting caught by having your. You don't even have to be like put your DNA into a system. Your ancestor can put their DNA into a system, and you can be locked away for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So even like, how would you think that you could put something on the internet and under your name and still have it there, and it wouldn't be found by somebody?
Now, listen, I'll admit something to people right now. I've told a racist joke before. So now here's the thing: everybody.
Yeah, it was right before the episode.
Everybody that's younger than Mike and I, well, not everybody, but if you're at least a few years younger than us, then you grew up in the internet. Basically, you grew up as soon as you were old enough to really kind of start to socialize, go to high school, all that kind of stuff. You had the internet at your fingertips and got on MySpace and Facebook and Twitter or whatever it was when you started coming up. I think it's like TikTok and Snapchat now, whatever the fuck those things are. But you guys' whole life has been online, so you're used to this. You're used to sharing everything. This Shane Gillis is part of that generation. That's used to being online and sharing all this stuff. One of my friends, I guess I won't name him, and I, one time, he lives in Las Vegas.
Oh.
And so we were on the phone with each other, and we were kind of like just going through online, and he found this website of racist jokes. So I went on there, and we went back and forth reading racist jokes to each other. And there were times that we were laughing incredibly hard. But the reason that we were laughing was because of the horribleness of some of these jokes. And, like some of them were against black people, some were against Jewish people. Women, there were like blonde jokes in there too. It ran the gamut. It was like, I think like an offensive joke website or something like that. Most of them were not actually funny, and most of them were not the way a skilled comedian would tell a joke that could be construed as racist, but is actually like kind of trying to make a point or something. None of them were like that. They were all just like one of them was that really famous one. What's the difference between a Jew and a pizza? And I'm pretty sure you know the punchline to that joke, Mike.
Yes, your father, I think, told me that joke.
So like that was the level of jokes. So I almost said his name. The friend of mine that lives in Las Vegas with his wife and doesn't have any children. Mike now knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Oh, I already knew.
We were laughing at the fact that there were people that thought that this was okay, kind of thing. So, but we knew better. This is the point of the whole thing. He and I knew better than to put that on the internet, than to go and say, look at the ridiculousness of this, even to try to make a point. We knew better than put any of that stuff on the internet. What I'm saying is, everyone at some point in their life is dumb. Not everyone is smart at some point in their life. Most of us probably have our moments of intelligence. But everyone at some point in their life is dumb or does something dumb or says something dumb. This generation puts all the shit on the internet.
Right.
Mike and I are of a generation that are wise enough not to put everything that we do and say on the internet. So I don't know how this younger generation is ever going to get a job now. Who's ever going to be able to become famous anymore? Because you'll go through the last 25 years of their life on the internet and say, oh, you said this. You're done.
And what's funny is people are taking things completely out of context because obviously, people are more quote unquote woke and more concerned with political correctness now. Mm-hmm. So stuff that really wasn't, stuff that wouldn't be found offensive, like Sarah Silverman of all people, recently lost an acting job because she, on her show that was on, in the public on Comedy Central, where everyone could see, people at the time were watching it, was wearing blackface. So you basically go back to something that, it's offensive now is what they're doing, which is just, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's
There's no sense of historical context for anything.
It's like when people, it's like people that want to get rid of the N-word from Huckleberry Finn. And it's like, Mark Twain wasn't racist, right? Like, you know he was against slavery and against black people being treated as inferior, and
But it was controversial how humanely, they were portrayed in his works.
Right, yeah, exactly. And it's like, he uses that word because that's the truth. That's what people would have said in that time period. You can't sanitize everything. You can't sanitize the past. And
it's even hard to say with Thomas Jefferson, the huge proponent of freedom, had slaves, that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
You really can't. I can't imagine how it's so weird that he wouldn't have automatically just said, "Oh shit, I'm a hypocrite. I'll get rid of my slaves." Again, the whole historical context. Not that I'm saying it's great or a good thing that he had in the first place. It's just so odd that things are. I don't think people can imagine how different things were 100 years ago or 200 years ago in this country, socially.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 10 years ago.
Right. And when people talk about Friends and they're like, "Oh yeah, that show's terrible now because there's a lot of homophobia in it, or they talk about this or they talk about that," and it's like, yeah, that was 1994. That's right. Why. That was 25 years ago.
Yeah, everything from 25 years ago is you can find something offensive in everything you look at. There's. The further back you go, the worse it is. When you go further back, you get Revenge of the Nerds, which no one even made a peep about it at the time, except for maybe some people. And I just never heard of a controversy over it until I started thinking about it a few years ago. I'm like, that movie really did not age well at all.
No, and the thing is that. People aren't always wrong when they say that. Revenge of the Nerds is pretty bad when you look at it. They couldn't do that in a movie today, and they probably shouldn't.
They commit several crimes in the movie.
Yeah,
is what happens.
Yeah, and
whereas back then it would be like, oh, that's good, clean fun. But no, they do a lot of stuff that really, especially in the modern context, the people who are really into IT and shit, they would definitely be more the jocks than the nerds. It'd be role reversal.
Absolutely.
If you made that, you'd have to make it be Revenge of the Jocks or something.
Yep. But anyway, so that's our rant about political correctness for this week.
Yes, a common theme.
I know that that sometimes people get sick of people saying it's PC gone mad, as Dave Chappelle did and Bill Burr, which we'll talk about later, did on his comedy special too. And most comedians now, if they don't open the show with it, at least talk about it at some point. And I know that people get upset, and millennials will say, "Oh yeah, just keep whining, Grandpa. Don't get with the times," and everything like that.
Yeah, because they're characters from the 50s.
Right, exactly. But I bring it up because it's important. Okay, so you need moderation. I don't want to go back to a time when it's okay for what's his name, Mickey Rooney, to put on glasses and buck teeth in Breakfast at Tiffany's and play the most offensive Asian stereotype in the world. But I also don't want to be at a place where anytime anyone says anything that could even remotely be construed as offensive, especially comedians, that they're automatically canceled, for it. So yeah, I don't want to go there either. I don't want either of those extremes. What I want is a nice middle ground where people are generally, respectful and nice of each other and not assholes to each other, and and everyone else is cool and doesn't want to be victims anymore. You want to get pissed off at something? Why don't you get pissed off at the fact that there's still kids in cages at the border? That we have literal concentration camps at the southern border. That'd be something I'd get upset about.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, so now on to keeping current with Mike, where we plumb the depths of celebrity gossip. Just more important news than anything else. Why talk about the rainforest being on fire and all of our oxygen being destroyed when we could talk about Kim Kardashian's butt? So, Mike, where are we going this week?
Let's see. This week we are going to Hip Hop DX. That's hiphopdx.com.
Nice.
Are you familiar with this publication, Mark?
No, I know of Hip Hop RX, Hip Hop Prescriptions, but I'm not sure of DX. Actually, I think we've done DX once before.
I think we tried to, but we couldn't, for some reason, use it. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, the top headline is Corrupt reportedly hospitalized following alcohol relapse.
Oh, okay, so Corrupt is a human being.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. Spelled K-U-R-U-P-T, by the way.
K-U-R-U-P-T? Okay. So Corrupt is an American rapper.
One thing corrupt is his usage of the English language, am I right?
Born in 1972, he is 46 years old. How long has he been... Oh, my God, he's been in the game since the early 90s. He was...
was he in a group or anything?
Well, it says he was originally signed to Death Row Records and formed a duo, the Dog Pound, with Daz Dillinger.
Oh, he was the Dog Pound?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not familiar with them.
Huh.
But anyway, so he... I don't know, what were his influences? Kendrick Lamar cited Corrupt in a 2014 interview as one of his three most significant influences alongside Tupac and Ice Cube. Huh.
Nice.
Well, I mean, those are definitely two great rappers to influence another great rapper in Kendrick Lamar. So that's good company.
Yesterday was the anniversary of Tupac Shakur's death.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was never a big fan.
You weren't a big fan of Tupac?
I'm more of a Biggie guy.
Oh, okay. I liked Tupac. I mean, I liked them both.
To me, Tupac seemed like a guy who's like, oh, I'm going to be famous, because he studied acting and tried to be an actor. He's like, I guess I'll be a rapper now. So he's like, okay, whatever you're. To me, it doesn't feel very genuine. Whereas like Notorious B.I.G., Notorious Big, if you will,
right?
Seemed like he was compelled to tell these like parts about his life. He seemed more of a poet than like a performer, which is the distinction between the two, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I as far as especially that generation, of rap artists, I was always a big Ice Cube guy.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg was always great too, obviously a little later than those.
Oh yeah, but I was big into NWA. I was big into Ice Cube in particular, and I like Kendrick Lamar a lot.
I was gonna call it NWP.
What?
And that's all we can say about that.
Right. Oh, all right. Next story.
Do you think that was an awkward conversation for Kevin Smith and Chris Rock when they had a first reading of that line?
Probably.
What's to say here, Kevin? He's like, listen, Chris Rock, you're desperate for any role in any movie, and you're a terrible actor. Why don't you just be in this? All right. Although Chris Rock is going to be in the next season of Fargo, which I'm kind of apprehensive about.
Ooh.
A great comedian, but not a good actor.
No, not at all. I haven't seen him in anything where I thought, wow, great performance there, Chris Rock.
I don't understand how he's such a bad actor.
I don't either, because like you said, he is a really good stand-up comedian, and for the most part, stand-up comedians generally turn out to be decent actors.
Especially dramatic ones, but he's not good in comedies. That's how bad of an actor he is.
Yeah, not good.
But I really like to Head of State with him and Bernie Mac. That's got a lot of funny parts, but even then, he's just like basically doing an hour and a half stand-up act.
Yeah, I mean, I like that movie, but he's definitely not one of the best parts. But Bernie Mac is really good in that movie.
Oh my God, Bernie Mac is so funny in that movie. I love Bernie Mac.
The Bernie Mac is the best part of Bad Santa, the original Bad Santa.
I don't know why I never watched the Bernie Mac show, but I am a huge Bernie Mac fan.
Me too. Love Bernie Mac.
Yeah, our next headline is Lil Wayne cancels Blink-182 show after saying he was kicked out of Ritz-Carlton. The police say he voluntarily left after a verbal dispute with the hotel staff, which is like the least frightening headline you've ever heard. I mean, it's why even bother to comment on this. He got into an argument and he was kicked out of the hotel. That's what happened.
He's canceling the Blink, so
he's been. I don't know if you know, he's been touring with Blink-182.
I did not know that. That is hilarious.
Yeah, so I don't know if they switch who opens or if he's always like the opener, but so I assume he's just not showing up for that specific show.
Oh, okay. So he's not canceling the tour. He's just quitting the tour.
I think it might just be one single show.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Blink-182 and Lil Wayne. That is so. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess they were popular around the same time. I guess.
Not really.
It seems like Lil Wayne was later, but
yeah, Lil Wayne was a bit later for sure. He was like more like a 2000s kind of thing. I mean, Blink-182 was around the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird pairing to me. That's not one that would occur to me.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but what can you do?
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, that's all I have for Keeping Current with Mike. Back to you, Mark.
All right. Now on to the Parents Guide game.
Someone call it the game of games.
Yeah, someone did call it that once. We've had some people, as you'll hear also on the other episode this week, we've had some people that have mentioned that it's a little confusing to play along at home when we go back and forth because you're trying to guess two movies at once instead of going one at a time. So Mike and I are experimenting with going just one at a time. I'll go first this week and read all of the clues to Mike based on this one film. You can play along at home. Mike will try to guess it, and then we'll switch, and Mike will quiz me. And let us know if you like that better, or if you want us to go back to the other way. So to give you a clue here, this movie, again, not sure if you've seen it or not, is certified M18 in Singapore.
Oh, so they chew gum in this one.
All right, so let's go with let's go with alcohol, drugs, and smoking first. Oh, and
hey, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, we really need this segment, some dramatic music while we're guessing.
Right. If we get the equipment that maybe we're going to be getting, we'll see what happens. I can program in sound effects and stuff to that, so I can just push the button when I want to do it.
Nice. Like the Rush Hour Renegades.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first thing, drugs, alcohol, and smoking. Several of the scenes where drugs are being used take place in a kitchen filled with equipment used to make drugs.
Goodfellas?
Yes, that's right. Did we do this before?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
But I kind of figured it from the clue.
I was almost positive you'd seen this movie. And I really wanted to do it.
Shit, I just had another example of a 50s throwback, but I lost it. So there's that. I lost the 50s throwback reference. That would have made this perfect.
Oh, man, this whole thing would have gone viral. We would have been all over Twitter.
Yep.
And then people would have trolled through the rest of the episodes and been like, "Hey, they used a racial slur at one point."
I don't think we have yet.
I don't think we have either.
Maybe for the 50th episode.
Yeah, we should do that 50th episode. Big celebration.
All right, in this movie, clue number 1. A couple talks about sex.
Oh, okay. Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
That's the no song.
Okay.
Clue number 2. A quote-unquote boob inspector hat is shown. There are cartoon boobs on it.
Oh my god, that sounds really familiar too.
It's a good job to get if you can get it.
Summer School?
Did you say summer school?
Yeah.
No.
Damn it.
Clue number 3. A teenage girl flashes her boyfriend, but we see her from the back.
Scream?
You're correct.
Nice. All right.
Wow, 3 clues. That's pretty impressive.
Not as impressive as on the first clue, but
Well, not even close. Yeah, you still did okay.
which you've done twice now.
I'm getting good. I'm getting better.
So now on to our main topic. So yeah, let us know too. Let us know if you want that to appear as that. You know what I mean.
Yeah, let us know.
Oh, okay. Also, real quick promo. So my wife pointed out to me because she listens to a lot of the podcasts on the network that someone read our promo the other day. It was Faves of Our Lives, actually. So shout out to Faves of Our Lives. Absolutely. And, I know I say this about every show on the network, but here's a dirty little secret. I mean, I don't listen to all the shows on the net. We got a lot of shows on the network, so I don't regularly listen to
every time we see a post on Facebook, it's a new fucking show I've never heard of.
Yeah. So I don't listen to every show on the network just because I can't. I don't have the time. But the Faves
Which ones do you listen to regularly?
I'm not going to say all of them, but I will say that the Faves of Our Lives is one of the ones that I listen to regularly. I think they do a great job and everything. And my wife pointed out that when they read our review before they played our promo on their show, that they said some really nice things about us. And she said, "Oh, I like that. That's really nice that they did that. It's a lot better than you and RJ basically just saying, I don't know who it is, so we'll talk about it next time."
RJ?
Yeah, from apparently on the Skeptical Skeptics, they a lot of times he'll also just be like, "I'm not sure who this is, so just listen to this." But anyway, so I did my duty here, and I looked up. Last week we talked about TV tuners and Drinkopedia. TV tuners, they are hilarious. Drinkopedia, I think, is one of the most interesting shows that we have on the network.
Hey, do we have multiple shows about like drinking and such?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, we have Brew Crime.
There's brew. Oh, isn't there Brew Talk or something too?
Yeah, we have What the Hops and 3 Beers In. They talk about craft beers.
Okay, that's a lot of info we got going there.
Yeah, you should guest on one of those the alcohol shows. You would definitely be good on that.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. Why do you think, Mike? In the
All of a sudden, I hear my wife come out on another mic. Yeah, Mike. Why do you think? Is this an intervention on the pod?
we're here because we love you.
But you're too lazy to cut it out, though. So it's just like, why would that be on there?
But this week we're doing a promo for Time Sensitive Podcast. They talk about things that you might have missed. So they cover similar-ish stuff to what we do, because they'll talk about different streaming stuff. They also talk about things that come out in the theater, but it's things that are a little bit more under the radar. So instead of talking about like the big Marvel movie that comes out that everybody's talking about, they'll talk about the interesting like art house type movie that either released to Netflix or got like a limited release in theaters for a few months. Didn't make any money.
Have to watch a Velvet Buzzsaw like we did.
Right, exactly.
My memory of that movie does not age well.
No, it wasn't that great. Jake Gyllenhaal was good, but it wasn't that great.
He's pretty an actor. I haven't really seen him in a lot of stuff, but he was good in that Nightcrawler movie is really good, and he was good in Velvet Buzzsaw. I don't think I've seen him in anything other than that, though. Wait, no, that's not true. I saw Donnie Darko. He's good in that. Yeah,
I knew you'd seen that.
He plays Donnie Darko.
He does. So this is Time Sensitive. Listen to them.
This one's about Donnie Darko.
You have to watch it. It's so good.
It was all right.
Your friends may have decent taste in movies, but their incoherent reviews are getting annoying.
I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Looking for a new podcast?
Join Time Sensitive, where we break down the recent movies you've heard of but may have missed.
Spoilers included.
And we get it. You're busy and can't see everything, but are you really going to track it down a year later?
We take the time so you don't have to.
Find us on Twitter @TSMoviePod and find out what we're watching.
I'm Sam.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Kate, and we're three friends and armchair movie critics. Seriously, invite us into your living room.
Kate, stop.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Time sensitive, because you deserve better.
So that was Time Sensitive Podcast, specializing in Donnie Darko. It's mostly Donnie Darko fan theories.
Yeah, quite frankly, it's very Donnie Darko heavy.
But if you're a fan of Donnie Darko, definitely check them out, and you will not be disappointed.
Next week, our review podcast will be the new Donnie Darko episode guide podcast. Just as a heads up, it does not go into the sequel movie.
No, it's just petitions to make a Donnie Darko limited series on Netflix.
And examining the timeline of Donnie Darko.
Mm-hmm. It goes heavily into that book that you can find on the internet or whatever. And
then it very briefly touches onto the shortly lived Saturday morning cartoon Donnie Darko and Friends.
Darko and Friends.
Yep. It's kind of similar to a quantum leap type thing where you go back through time and repeatedly sacrifice your life at the end of the.
That's right. It's Donnie Darko. There's always
it did not test well amongst the tween crowd. I will tell you that much.
Always some tragedy befalls the family, and in every episode, Donnie Darko sacrifices himself, and then is miraculously back in the next episode.
And his invisible dragon friend that only he can see would help him solve some of these crimes.
Yep. Oh my god! And he rode a skateboard a lot, which was interesting.
Yeah. And it turned out he was adopted by Mr. T. And Burt Reynolds played his father, who was also a crystal from another planet.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I don't think this makes sense out of order, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't either. This is a callback to a future bit that you'll hear tomorrow.
Much like Donnie Darko, this one travels from the future.
Yeah, and his brother floated every time he took his sneakers off.
Yep.
That was his superpower.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as good.
Okay.
Hey, what can you do, Donnie? Oh, I can travel through time and affect change and create multiple dimensions for my actions. How about you? Hand me those spray cans.
Check this out. I can float gently.
I can float around the edges of various TV productions long enough to land an actual show.
Oh, my God. Oh.
I heard that Jerry O'Connell's parents gave him like some kind of injection to make him grow, so he could grow up to be an adult actor. I really heard that somewhere. Too bad it didn't work out, huh?
Oh my god. Oh, is that why?
What a waste of money that was. He was in Scream too.
Oh my god, that is so funny. Oh, Jerry O'Connell's parents were abusive.
Yeah, but it was for money, so.
Well, yeah, okay, that is a good reason.
But I don't know if that's true, though. I think he's pretty tall. He's like 6 foot something. He's just pretty tall for an actor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's in decent shape. I guess he's just not very successful career.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. He's been in some things, I guess.
Yeah, good for you. And he was, he dated Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
I think he's married to her.
Are they still married?
I think they have kids and everything. Good for him.
Well, that's how he survives.
Well, no shit.
All
That
the-
John Stamos, alimony.
Exactly.
I think she probably has a lot of money, too, from being a model. I don't understand why models get paid so much, but whatever.
Yeah, they make a ton of money.
I think we've discussed this a long time ago. I don't understand why you would have to pay actors that much because everyone wants a job,
Yeah, you would think that the demand is so high or the supply is so big because the demand for the job is so high that you could charge much lower prices.
Like, okay, I'll give you $1 million maximum for one movie. I mean, Samuel Jackson would still make like $20 million a year.
Well, and that's the thing too is that might start happening. I don't know because there was a time period in Hollywood, and kind of once upon a time in Hollywood, like we talked about, was sort of about was about a different change, but we're kind of going through. It mirrors a change that we're going through now. It used to be that if you were a big Hollywood star, that people went to that movie. So, the next Tom Cruise movie, the next Burt Reynolds movie, the next, whomever was the big star at the time, it didn't matter. It didn't matter what the premise was. It didn't matter who directed the movie. No one cared about that. Harrison Ford's in this movie. I'm going to go see it. That was a time in Hollywood. So I could see how they would pay them, bigger and bigger amounts of money because they were the draw. That's not the case anymore. The period of big Hollywood stars carrying a movie is it doesn't exist anymore. So I think you're right. It might, I don't think we're going to see a lot of people making $20 million a picture anymore.
I would disagree. I mean, I see a lot of people who still show up for like a rock movie. I'm not pretty funny. I've never met a person who's really a huge fan of Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Though in the movie Scream, they do make a big deal about being able to see his penis because, women love seeing penises because, they're so attractive.
It's the most sexy thing in the world.
Right.
But yeah, Tom Cruise used to be a heartthrob, I guess, but then he started doing so many weird things that he can't be a heartthrob anymore.
And plus he's like 60, I think. He's really an older gentleman at this point.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, his soul is much older than his body, obviously.
That's true. Yeah, his soul marinated in the cauldron of a volcano.
And as clear as a fresh drop of dew on the the plants in the morning.
Mm-hmm. I guess I should say caldera, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise. Rosie O'Donnell has a huge crush on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck. He's gonna be shooting koosh balls into her nether regions.
Oh my god, koosh balls! That is awesome. Oh,
koosh balls.
So our main topic tonight is, what we watched. I don't know if you watched
House MD.
I don't know if you watched it or not, Mike, but I watched the Bill Burr comedy special.
Yeah, I also watched the Bill Burr comedy special, Sticks and Stones.
That was the Dave Chappelle one.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember what this one was called? I know he was in England.
I think it's called
Live from something or Bill Burr. Oh, Paper Tiger. That's what it's called.
Yeah, Paper Tiger, like the.
Which I love that
movie.
word. That's a phrase I love. Paper Tiger. It's obviously a person who looks strong but is really kind of weak.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Matt Segan was in a band called Paper Tiger for a while.
Was he?
Know that? Yeah, it was after I don't know.
after Weasel Face.
Yeah, I went and saw him in a band. I don't even remember what they're called, but he got really into like Weezer and shit, which was hilarious.
That is funny.
But so even then, even though they like played like an amazing, because he's a great guitarist, so he did a great like note for note cover of "Say It Ain't So." And he just like had to like go back into like do a note for note cover of "Eruption."
Nice.
And it was like perfect. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, he's a very, very talented guitar player.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he was also in a band called Paper Tiger. Check out Paper Tiger.
Yeah. Check out the band that probably doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, I can't imagine they would.
But no, look up Matt Segan or Mark Segan if he's going by that. That's his actual name.
Yeah, that's a stage name, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's CYGEN.
Because of those two names that you want to change for a stage name, the first one is the one you really want to go with.
Yep.
You have like one vowel in the last name. How does that work?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's CYGEN, so look him up.
It sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons monster is what his last name sounds like.
The Segan. You know why? You know what stage name I never understood? The Captain and Tennille, right? So this guy changed his name to the Captain, to be with his wife Tennille, and they named their band that. You know what his real name is? Daryl
Sailor.
Daryl Dragon.
Oh my god!
That's his real name.
How is that a real last name?
Why? Why would you?
How is your that sounds like a character from Step Brothers changing their last name to Dragon? And in fact, I think he says you have to call me Dragon.
Why would you change your name from Daryl Dragon to the Captain?
Oh my god!
But yeah, so
there's this. I don't know if you see it on the internet. There's like this Major League Baseball game that was translated into Japanese. And like whoever did the thing just kind of like came up with like human, American like first names and last names, and they're just like ridiculous.
Okay.
It's like Bum Magruder and like really wacky names like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, anyways, Paper Tiger.
Real quick.
That's Segan's band.
Real quick. Though.
Are you gonna do it with an accent? Because if so, I'm gonna go get a drink real quick.
No, but real quick. I'm on the Captain's Wikipedia page. Okay, now
You mean Dragon's page?
yeah. Unfortunately, he was born August 27th, 1942. Unfortunately, died January 2nd, 2019.
Was he born under a full solar eclipse?
But this is the best part of it. Under that little background information part, birth name Daryl Frank Dragon, also known as Captain. Why? Your name is Daryl Frank Dragon.
That's a pretty sweet name.
Born into
What the fuck ethnicity is Dragon?
Born into a musical family, Dragon was the son of Eloise, a conductor, composer, and arranger. And
a ranger? Is that like a fucking D&D class?
And Carmen.
Oh, right. Okay, a ranger, not
Right.
a space ranger.
Right, a
I'm like,
ranger.
Jesus Christ. That's a fucking weird thing to throw into that bitch.
His dad's name was Carmen Dragon.
Yeah, I play the bass and I also range.
His elder brother was Dennis Dragon, a member of the 60s pop group The Dragons and the 80s surf band Surf Punks.
What? You started a fucking surf band in the 80s?
Yep.
20 years after your fucking pop. Shouldn't you do that in reverse?
Seriously?
I've been thinking for 20 years, let's do a surf band. Even the Beach Boys were not doing surf music at that point. They were doing fucking Kokomo with goddamn John, what's his fucking face on the drum?
Yeah, John Stamos.
Yeah.
Who lost his wife to Jerry O'Connell.
Oh man, the guy from Sliders slid into my wife. I'm gonna go play the drums with fucking Brian Wilson over here.
Oh my god. So listen to this. It's so funny that you mentioned the Beach Boys because it says Dragon's familiar image and stage name came from his time as a keyboard player with the Beach Boys. from 1967 to 1972.
Okay, good. That makes sense. 67. That makes way more sense.
Beach Boys lead singer Mike Love gave him the nickname Captain Keyboard, and it stuck.
Because his brother was the fucking captain?
Oh my god.
That's like a dick move. What a dick move that is.
Dragon began wearing a nautical captain's hat to go along with his name.
What the fuck?
Oh my
I'm calling this right now. That is a fucking power move by Mike Love. Come on, Captain. Your brother's the captain. And what about you, Captain Keyboard?
Right. Oh my god, that is awesome.
That is great.
So
anyways, Paper Tiger.
Paper Tiger. Overall, it was okay. It was fine. I didn't love it.
Yeah, it was okay too. I'm just kind of tired of people talking about political correctness and people who are snowflakes. And
Me
that kind
too.
of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like Norm Macdonald. I wouldn't really say this is 100% Bill Burr, but Norm Macdonald once said, like, if you're an angry comedian, like, where do you go at a certain point? Like, you're going to be angry at the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Bill Burr is a great comedian. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, a lot of it is like, oh, I'm mad at everything. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like, you know, I think Anthony Jeselnik's like, I'll do a dark joke this time. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it gets, if you're not multifaceted, it gets old. Like if you're doing one note type thing, it's like with what's his name, Lewis Black. So
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Like that. I think that's who Norm was talking about.
yeah, and it's like, okay, Lewis Black, you know, when he did his little Back in Black thing on the Daily Show, you know, it was funny for like, you know, 5 minutes here and there, and then he did some stand up, which was also, you know, he had like one or two specials that were funny, and then after that, it's like
he started stand up when he was like 40.
Yeah, I know.
40 something.
But it's like after that, what are you going to do? Like, there's a reason he's not really around anymore as a big headline or anything, because like you said, and like Norm said, at some point, if you're one note, the one note just, it's too repetitive.
Yeah, and like him, especially like when like Obama became president for 8 years, I didn't hear from Lewis Black at all. Like he had nothing to be angry about.
Yeah, exactly. It was the worst thing in the world. He got everything he wanted.
It's like Von Meter with Kennedy being assassinated. His career's over.
Yeah. Who was that? I can't remember who that was. That it was the day Kennedy was assassinated.
Yeah, I can't remember who. I know what you're talking about. It was a famous comedian, I think.
He came up onto the stage and said, "Well, Von Meter's fucked."
It might have been George Carlin, but I don't really know. But yeah, it was a comedian.
Yeah,
maybe Lenny Bruce, but I don't think that's right.
No, I want to say it was like, yeah, either Carlin or maybe Richard Pryor, or no, I don't think it was Richard Pryor.
I think Carlin sounds right, but I can look it up, but I don't really know who it was.
But yeah.
For those who don't know, Von Meter was a impressionist who was really, famous for impersonating JFK, one of the first, the most popular. He was making tons of cash going around. He released a couple albums. It was the Famous Family, I think it was called, by Von.
Yeah.
So he was a one note like an impersonator. He did Kennedy, and then Kennedy gets.
Yep, and his career was over.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I agree with you. Like the stuff at the beginning. So the stuff about women and the stuff about political correctness. It was just it was too much. So. And
also we are fresh off seeing Dave Chappelle, who in my opinion is the best comedian out there doing the same material. I mean, obviously it's a different perspective, but it's like hearing a cover song almost. Not quite, but it's like, oh, I heard a cover song of a better...
Yeah, and I felt like, am I being unfair because I just
like hearing
watched...
a fucking Disturbed cover song. It's, a shittier version.
Right, exactly. Like hearing what Behind Blue Eyes by Limp Bizkit. instead of the Who, but anyway, so I thought to myself, I was like, am I being unfair because I just watched Sticks and Stones and I just heard about the political correctness stuff, and obviously Dave Chappelle is I like Bill Burr a lot. Bill Burr's in my top 10 or whatever.
Another top 3 guest on talk shows, much like
Yeah.
Norm. He's amazing on talk shows, especially Conan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love Bill Burr. But so he's in my top, as well. But, Dave Chappelle's probably more talented. I think Bill Burr would admit that too. And so I'm like, am I being fair? Because we just kind of heard very similar stuff, and like you said, it's not quite as good. But I am just kind of getting sick of I don't care if a comedian mentions it, like at the top about political correctness and stuff like that, but don't build the first 10 minutes of your act around it, because no one cares anymore. I'm
sick of the subject. I'm at the point where like so many like innocuous things. I mean, obviously the Shane Gillis thing you mentioned earlier is a little more like hardcore. Like, he's like, oh, so-and-so said something that I don't agree with. They said that Trump is a good... like, people, like, say what you will about Kanye West. I mean, he's a Trump supporter, and people, like, are shitting on him. I mean, you're allowed to have different opinions regardless of how... I mean, they're harming someone. You could have different perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always thought that Kanye West was crazy.
I mean, he is a little bit, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, but a lot of genius takes a little bit of insanity. Mm-hmm. I think there's a really strong correlation to that. Like, Chappelle, people thought he was crazy. I mean, he really didn't do the shit. Like, everyone started these rumors, like, oh, he's in South Africa taking drugs. He was just in South Africa, he wasn't doing drugs and, like, on crack, like people said and shit.
Yeah. And I do think
he's also a guy who turned down $20 million for his integrity. Can you name another person who would do that? I can't. I wouldn't turn down...
Exactly.
You could have me... if you put me in a fucking Out of This World, remake, I'd do it for $20 million.
Fuck yes. Absolutely. But and we're doing this show for a lot less. But yeah, and I do think that Kanye West is at least I think he's had moments of musical genius. I think there are moments.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. He's crafted. He's been like the hottest hip hop artist for a while now. I mean, you could argue Eminem's up there, obviously Kendrick Lamar, but I mean, like, when he releases Childish Gambino too, but when he releases something, it's an event. Everyone just waits for his shit.
And I like that he actually puts thought and craft into what he's doing, and you can see that he is.
You can actually see his progression as an artist in public too, because when he first came out, as a rap, with the was it the Late Registration or whatever the first one was, like when you'd see him live, it was like the worst show ever. It was like just basically him standing there, no production. Then cut to a few years ago, it was like the MTV Music Awards. The entire set is all white, and it's just the most insane video you could imagine.
Yeah. College Dropout was the first one.
Oh, okay, but yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's just it's. I mean, is he crazy? Probably, but I mean, it's not. Insanity is not always harmful. You should have a huge stigma, this person's not like everybody else. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's how we progress as a species.
Yeah, and like you said, I think there's a big correlation, because in order to geniuses by definition don't think like other people do. They think in different ways, just like crazy people do. So, anybody I think that's genius has a little bit of also, you can call it eccentricity or whatever you want to call it.
Unconventional thinking.
Yeah, they're all a little bit crazy. So, I don't mind it from those people. But yeah, I mean, I said a long time ago, before the whole Trump stuff, I was like, Kanye's a little nuts. Kanye's a little out there, but definitely musically a genius for sure.
Yeah, and like him or not, I really think the world's a more interesting place with people like him in it. I mean,
absolutely,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But Bill Burr. So yeah, there are times the women's stuff. I get what he's doing, because I hear his podcast, and listening to him on a weekly basis, you get to know him a little bit. I think people.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I don't think people can do what he's doing, do a podcast all the time without letting a little bit of himself show through.
Yeah, he does his podcast by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he has guests occasionally, but I mean, Bill Burr's great raconteur. This sounds shitty, but I think he's kind of on autopilot this time. He can go anywhere in the world and play, make tons of money. He has a great life from his description. He's calmed down a lot from when he was younger, which he, made a lot of headway with comedy from. I mean, I don't think he's still, like he could show up anywhere and like make the entire crowd laugh. But I mean, this kind of feels like a retread. Like, I'm a big fan of Doug Stanhope, but I mean, his albums are the same subjects over and over. He's making different points about them, so it's like I don't even really listen to his stand-up that much anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's a salient point. And I think that is a lot of what's going on. What's going on here is that he is kind of on autopilot. So, it's like he says all the stuff that he does about women at the beginning, and it's like I know
that's classic Bill Burr subject. Too.
Yeah. And it's like, I know what you're doing, Bill. I know you're playing this character. You're not really this unempathetic or this ununderstanding about women. You're playing up, part of your personality to like the nth degree, to be funny. But it's just like, it's a little too much at this point, and it goes on a little bit too long. Kind of talking about like your point and Norm's point from earlier, I like it when comedians evolve too. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm not saying like, a comedian like Bill Burr, for instance, right, has to become this like feminist now. I don't think, that should happen, but, he should evolve a little bit, at least in his thinking, or evolve into new kind of subject matters and stuff like that. So
yeah, and as he points out himself, he's like one of the most like classically liberal people out there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry, I don't mean classically liberal in like a libertarian matter. I mean, he's like, he votes, for.
Yeah.
I think he voted for Trump just to mess with people. But I mean, he has all these. I mean, a lot of these comedians are like, even Joe Rogan, like, so they are basically liberal in all their opinions. They want, universal health care, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, he's, like I said, I just think that a lot of it, like you said, is kind of autopilot. I think a lot of it is, and I wonder, he's got a very successful podcast. He has a successful television show on Netflix, F is for Family, which is a good show that I enjoy as well. The second season I didn't think was as good as the first season, but it's still a pretty decent show. And I just wonder, is he spreading himself too thin to really put as much into the comedy as he used to? And I wonder if maybe he's got too much going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're new to Bill Burr, this is still a good special to watch. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a few of his before, and it's like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's just like it's a lot of the same material kind of over and over again. And there are, I don't want to completely shit on Bill Burr. Like you said, it's still a decent special. It's still going to be a better special than the majority of comedians out there, because Bill Burr's a very good comedian. But there's a lot better specials where he's made me laugh a lot harder. But there are some things that he comes to that really make me laugh. Like the one bit that I thought was really good was when he talked about how he goes, what's funny about sexual assault? And then he pauses, and everyone laughs, obviously. But he says that the Me Too thing. He said, I think they got everybody now, because you hear the stories and they're not like they used to be when it started out. He's like, when it started out, there were guys like just grabbing, like dropping their pants. Look at that, look at, like blocking doors, jizzing on plants and stuff, and people are at home like, oh my god, this is actually happening. And he's like, now it just sounds like bad first dates. It's like, yeah, the chicken was cold, and
like there's definitely like Aziz Ansari. Like, I mean, it did sound like, from what his whole Me Too thing, it didn't. I mean, it's a shitty experience, but it didn't seem like the woman told him to stop it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you being uncomfortable doesn't mean that the guy assaulted you, basically.
Yeah, especially you being uncomfortable and not saying anything. I mean, no one can read anyone else's mind.
Right. So, I mean, I think he makes a good point when it comes to that, and I think he... I think it's funny. It's a funny part of the special, and I think he also makes a good point during that part. And there are a couple parts like that throughout the special, but for the most part, it is just kind of retread of anything that you can see in any of his other specials.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for the completist, but I mean, it's not nothing. It's not an essential listen, I don't think.
No, I wouldn't say so either. So the podcast is probably much more entertaining on a weekly basis.
Yeah. His podcast is really good.
But so that is our episode for the week. As always, tell a friend about the show. You can go to our Patreon if you want to donate $1 to us. Help Mike reach his goal of being able to find shoes that make him float or whatever.
No, that you have to put them on to prevent yourself from floating.
That's right. Pay Mike. That's what it was. Pay Mike $20 million to do this podcast.
Yeah.
That is our goal. All we need is either one of you to donate $20 million, 20 of you to donate $1 million, 2 million of you to donate $10. Is that right? Yeah. Or 20 million of you to donate $1.
Right.
So however you guys in the world want to divide that up, figure it out amongst yourselves and pay Mike $20 million to do the show.
Yes.
But other than that, you can get us at Twitter or wherever you want to. I don't know. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next time.